G'day everyone, welcome to my channel, South Coast, New Zealand. It's a channel set up for people that are wanting to get into the sport of spearfishing. It's designed to give or showcase spearfishing from the very onset of purchasing the gear and dipping your toes in the water. I'm a complete novice, never done it before. So it's going to be a bit of an experience. I've done a little bit of snorkeling when I was a young kid, but that's about it. Looking forward to it. Got a friend that's going to come with me, so he'll be my buddy. You don't really want to get in the water without one when you're a novice, so we've sort of ticked that off, and looking forward to getting out there. Just some sort of, I guess, knowledge on the actual gear that you have to have when you start up spearfishing. We found the best way to obtain the gear is through package deals on the internet. There's a few websites around New Zealand, or businesses around New Zealand, that do that, and it's the best way to get into the sport because it's cheaper. It has everything you need to get in the water and start catching fish. So we went away and did that. We ordered the gear. It came last week. I've got the package here, so I'll go through that with you just so that you have some idea as to what to look for. Hopefully we'll be out in the water this weekend, so that's what, 3 nights away. I'll get some footage of that. So it's going to be a learning experience for both of us. And yeah, basically we just can't wait to get into it. So firstly, I'll just go through the gear that I've got, and then I'll just touch on the safety aspect of the sport after that. So I'll start off with the goggles. All the stuff apart from the items that I show you at the end of the package, all this comes with the package deal. I've got a few extras, like I say, that I just purchased myself that weren't part of the package. Firstly, the goggles. These are a low profile black silicone goggle or mask. They recommend that you do get the black silicone. Now, with the mask, they have a tendency to fog up, so there's all sorts of tricks and products to stop that from happening. One trick that I've found is, I just watched a clip on YouTube where someone got a lighter and burnt off the inside film that's attached to the glass, burnt it off with a lighter, and he reckons that when you do that, it stops it from fogging. So I've gone ahead and done that. So I'm not sure if it's going to work, but apparently all the feedback from the video, it does. I'll let you know if it does, and if it doesn't, well, I'll let you know as well. So that's the mask. What else we got? Gloves. I've just gone for the lighter glove, just so I can feel things better, particularly the gun and the trigger. I'll see how I go with the crayfish. If these are too thin, then I'll get a thicker pair, but I wanted to go light first off, just my preference. Snorkel, flexi type of snorkel, not a stiff snorkel, just in case it gets caught up. Basic snorkel, that's all you need. No purge valve, and just a little clip to keep your snorkel attached to your mast so you don't lose it. So what we've got here is the booties. These go inside your fins, keep you nice and snug, so you don't have a nice tight fit when you're operating the fins. You keep your feet warm. These are the freediving fins that come with the package, this particular package. They recommend that you use these when you're freediving rather than the old scuba type setup or the snorkeling type setup fins. These fins are interchangeable, so later on if I want to go to like a composite blade, a more lighter and more flexi blade, I can do that by unscrewing these screws and taking out this plastic fin. And I've actually tried those fins in the pool, and believe it or not, in the first couple of minutes, because I'm not used to them and haven't done that sort of exercise, I cramped up. So it was just a bit of a warning to me. If you're a bit old in the tooth and you haven't done much exercise lately and you grab one of these or a pair of these fins, make sure you try them out, you know, in the water, in the pool, just so that your particularly your calf muscles are loosened up when you do go out into the water. You don't want to cramp up out there, especially if you go by yourself, which I recommend you don't. That's why I've got a friend coming with me. So we'll move on to I've got the weight belt here. So I've got 8 kgs of lead on this. I'm 94 kilos, so haven't tested the buoyancy on this weight belt. So that will happen when I first go out. Make sure that I can get down to the bottom and be buoyant at the top. It's got a quick release latch, so if I get into trouble, I can just quickly drop the weight belt. Pretty important. Make sure you've got the right gear for that sort of scenario. Then I've got the old float. My package came with an inflatable float with a dye flag on the end. So it's got a clip at the front where you attach your float line. I'll show you that shortly. And a couple more clips underneath. This little baby here I'll show you shortly as well. It's just something I came up with. This float line, that part there attaches to your shark clip on your spear gun. And when you catch a fish, apparently this is how it goes. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure. If I'm wrong, please let me know. When you catch the fish, take it off the spear gun or the spear, and then thread the mouth through this end of this particular instrument, and then through the gills, and then slide the fish along the rope and hook it back to your, or attach it back to your spear gun, and away you go. The fish should float all the way back to the top of the float. That way the fish is nowhere near you and you don't get sharks or, you know, seals blooming, I don't know, coming close to you. They'd rather, you know, go towards the float. This is a 15 metre float line. That might be a bit long for me learning, so I might shorten it. I'll see how I go, and then lengthen it later on when I can hold my breath a bit longer. That's the shark clip. These are designed just for quick release and quick hookup. That'll just attach to my front end of my float like that, and then the float line goes down to your spear gun. Spear gun, well, I'm in Wellington, so the conditions can be quite murky. So I went for a 90 centimetre spear gun. It's probably the right length for me as well, you know, learning. I'm only going to go for small species of fish. Later on I might get a longer gun and target kingfish. But for now it's just a nice size gun for me to get to grips with. So it's up to you. I mean, I personally prefer a smaller gun to start out with. Comes with a safety switch just on the top there, so once it's loaded just put on the safety, particularly when you're diving with someone else, and when it's loaded just flick that on. When you decide to go down and start shooting fish, flick it off, making sure that you're not pointing it at your mate. And basically what I've done here is attached a GoPro mount so that we can see, well, you guys can see what I'm up to. Hopefully I'll get some good footage, particularly on my first dive. It could be interesting. Lots could go wrong. So that's the spear gun. Moving on to the wetsuit. So this package came, well, they should all come with a 2-piece wetsuit. They recommend that you buy these proper freediving wetsuits. It just keeps you warmer in the water longer. They're quite tricky to get on, so the best way to get these things on is you know, open them up from the bottom, particularly the top, and then get a solution of soapy water and spray it inside the suit, and it just slips on. It's amazing how easy it is to put on once you've got a bit of soap in there. Same with the bottoms, you just open those up and away you go. So the extras I got from the package, just a couple of little things. The knife didn't come with the package, so I had to buy one. So this one straps to my leg, and it's just a little short knife that ickies the fish or kills the fish when you catch it on the spear. And if you get into any trouble, you can cut yourself away from something. So it's a good little knife. Got it from a local dive shop. Same with this catch bag. Now this is where I've come up with some ingenuity. So I've tied a little piece of rope to the middle of my float. This particular float's got 2 catches on it, and I thought I'd just tie the old catch bag to the middle of the float and it'll just float along the water like so, and I can put my shellfish and stuff in there. I wasn't too keen to put the crayfish in there just because their legs get all hard to get in and hard to get out, so I've left that to this little contraption, and it's called a cray snare, which I'll just, for the purpose of my float, because it's an inflatable, I'll tie this 1 metre down the float line and hook my crayfish up to there so that the crayfish can't turn up and blimmin' start puncturing my float. They come with 6 snares. The daily bag limit, take limit is 6, so these things work. You just come to the surface with the crayfish, open up one of these loops, push the crayfish tail through, and then pull where the tail meets the body, attach this to it by just pushing up the loop, making it nice and tight, and then the crayfish just dangle around while you go back down to catch another one. So I'll see how that goes. Apparently they work really well, so like I say, that'll attach to the float line, and that's about it really. The other thing too is just on the safety side of it, it's quite important to look into that. I'm hopefully going to do a course, a specialised spearfishing course, which teaches you how to breathe properly. If you get into trouble or your mate gets in trouble, you know what to do, particularly rescue breathing. Signs to look for, when you're actually free diving yourself, that you don't start, or you can minimise and stop that shallow water blackout syndrome. You need to look into that. Just do a little bit of research on shallow water blackouts. I didn't know anything about it until I found it on the internet, and I tell you, that internet's a great bloody thing. I was quite surprised what I learnt. A bit different to my day back at school. But anyway, yeah, shallow water blackouts, take a look at it. It's quite frightening. But once you know what it's all about, you definitely you need to understand your limits as to how far you can dive and how long you can dive. So definitely recommend that before you jump into the water. And always dive with someone beside you or nearby. You don't want to go and diving by yourself, especially when you're first doing the sport and doing it all on your own. So next video, hopefully you'll see the results of my first outing. I'll be doing my buoyancy test first off, and then I'll grab my gun and we'll get to it. So thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll see you next time.